This is the rhythm of change. This is the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Ah, Diane
Good
L. Murray
morning.
Clements.
What's up with you?
Good morning, Diane.
Let me tell you, you look happy this morning. How you feeling?
And listen, Diane, you know what? I'm going to be as obtuse as every other black person seems to be. I'm going to be as oblivious as everybody else seems to be. And I'm just going to dance my way through all this misery, Diane.
You better do it with some Lysol and stop playing around.
Diane, listen, look, black folk have no idea what's happening. They really don't. They don't have an inkling of an understanding of what's going on right now. So I got my sunglasses on, Diane. I got the brim of my hat tilted down a little bit today, and I'm just gonna ride this thing out because we sick and we're in trouble. We're sick
in so many different ways.
and we're
So
in
many
trouble.
different ways. Oh man, there's so
We're
much
sick,
going
Diane.
on.
Diane. We are sick and we're in trouble. Listen, sick, like, literally and figuratively and everything in between, right? The coronavirus, we're sick. We're sick mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We're broken. We are in bad shape. In bad shape.
Oh my God! Please don't bring me down. Do something to lift up my spirit. Jesus, I mean, really.
Hey,
Let's
Diane.
talk about the Bachelor finale or something. Something that can get our minds off of the mundane crazy of this world.
Listen, you know what? I'm telling you, a lot of black folks, because they don't want to face the reality of the situation, they are self-medicating in propaganda, right? They're self-medicating in Negro whispering. They're self-medicating in slave catching. They're doing anything they can do to not have to face the realities of the condition of the black man and woman here in the United States of America. And I tell you, all you need to do is read. Look at the statistics, look at the data. It tells you where we are. We're anchored to the very bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. And we're there not by chance. We're there
By design.
by design. By design.
So when
And
the
Diane,
world gets coronavirus, when the world gets coronavirus, black people get what?
We say what? When the world gets cold, we get the flu or pneumonia. So if the world is getting coronavirus, we're dying. See, because the mortality rate is what, 1%, right? So, but that's 1% for everybody else, not for black folk. See, everything is different for black folk. See, we have it worse.
The treatment is different.
Oh, everything.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, Diane.
The treatment is different.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
When it comes to healthcare.
Everything.
When it comes to housing. When it comes to all
Diane,
of that.
everything. Listen, I wish I could drink, because I'd have poured a little something in my coffee this morning. Because I just want to, I just want to be numb, because, like James Baldwin said, to be black and conscious in America is to be in a constant state of rage, and taking that blue pill and being plugged back into the matrix, like the guy Cypher in the movie, and saying, you know what, just plug me back in, make me somebody important,
Yeah, I don't want to be, I don't want to be numb. I want to know what's going on. That numb feeling is not a good feeling. It's like, I don't know. Have you ever, gone?
Hey, Diane, do you ever see me do my my Stevie Wonder impersonation?
God, no. This is where we're
Diane, listen.
Stop.
I gotta do something. Diane, I was gonna come in. I was gonna be heavy hitting today. I was gonna give it to the people. I was just gonna give it straight, no chaser. But they don't want it. They're choking on it, Diane.
Well,
they're choking on it.
Choke, because everybody won't be saved. They will self-eliminate. We already know this.
Diane, you want me to lay hands on them?
Don't lay hands on them, because I don't think they're ready for it.
You want me to lay hands on them, Diane? Something. Listen, because they're dragging it. Diane, they are dragging the team down. They're dragging the team down.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Listen, people are saying, I got a right to do this. I got a right to do this. But look, I'm on a team with you. Get off my team.
Okay, so
then do what you want to do.
Say that.
What?
Funny that you say that. So last night, frustrated with all of the crap that is going on, and politically, just the nonsense that we're dealing with politically.
Right.
My post simply said, real simple. I don't know. Did you see it last night?
I saw. You know what, Diane? I did not comment on your post because
Okay.
we got to have a personal conversation about that.
No, we gonna have a public conversation because let me tell you, you talking about folks mad. People I don't even know, probably never commented. I got so many types of things. I am not voting for Biden. I will write myself in.
Wait a minute, you said, you're not voting for Biden.
Yeah, I said,
no,
I'm not
listen.
voting for Biden. I said, I will write myself in. Feel free to vote for me also. Neither Biden or Sanders care about me and mine.
Listen.
Hashtag. I said what I said. As of this moment, 121 comments.
Yeah.
Folks are pissed. So you just going to throw away your vote. So you just going to do this. You just going to. I told you what I was doing. I'm writing myself. Why are you mad with my choice and my decision? Well, you just giving it to them. Oh, well, Trump just going to walk back in. Blah, blah. Well, again, on the other hand, why do you assume I'm a Democrat and I'm going to vote for a Democrat?
Diane, but here's the question that I have for all of those people. Now, I saw your post, and I got some words for you too, but I didn't. Look, listen, you and I have a true brother-sister relationship, right? So, and we could talk openly on air, and I'll give you my words about it. But what I want to say before I give you my words about it is this. For all of those people who came in there conscious about, you're going to give this one, oh, you're going to do this, and how you're going to do this, what have they done in their own community? See, I want to stop. Look, I mean, you do have the national election going on, but why aren't we as scrutinizing when it comes to local campaigns and local politicians? These local politicians are driving our cities into the dump, right? They are ruining our children, leaving them destitute and ill-prepared, right? But we're concerned about Biden, or we're concerned about Trump, or we're concerned about Bernie Sanders. But your goddamn kid is going to a failing school.
Oh, gosh.
What are we talking? Diane, see?
I'm telling you, we got to discuss
Diane,
it.
I said, I'm going to put the music back on. I'm going to start dancing again because you are getting me upset.
And stay calm. Don't get upset. And we have to discuss some of the comments because.
All right, let's go to some of them.
People are thinking, but go ahead, you go.
You want me to tell you my thoughts about it? So
Sure.
Here are my thoughts. My thoughts are these, but I've already said this before. Look, I am crystal clear that nobody, and when I say nobody, I mean nobody, black people, white people, Asian people, none of them give a damn about us. So let's not just put it on Biden and Bernie and Trump. Let's say nobody, right? So if we're talking urban Essex, right, then we're saying Raz, we're saying John James, we're saying Ted Green, we're saying Tony Voss, we're saying Dwayne Warren. We can go down the list. None of them give a damn about you. None of them are fighting for reparations. None of them have a plan for black people. None of them. So when you look and say, well, I'm not going to vote for Biden and I'm not going to vote for Sanders and I'm not going to vote for, because they don't have a plan specifically for black people. Well, none of them do. None. Senator Ron Rice, can I keep going? U.S. Senator Cory Booker, can I keep going? None of them. You point one of them that has a plan. So if that is your litmus test, then why are any of them in office? If that's your litmus test, don't come now in 2020 all high and mighty saying, I need somebody got a specific plan for black people. None of them do. None of the teachers in the classrooms, none of them do. None. Zero. None of them give a damn. So, if we can agree to that, right? So then I say, well, then you shouldn't be voting. You shouldn't be doing anything all along, right? If we're gonna have that as our litmus test. So beyond that, where I try to anchor myself, is I tried to go back in history, and I tried to look at those who we revere, and try to glean some sense of knowledge from them. And so where I landed, and I told you, I was profoundly changed when I read Death of a King, because I really started to focus on what Dr. King was fighting for. And so that's what I'm fighting for. He wasn't fighting for reparations, and I'm not saying that we don't need it, that we shouldn't have it. We should be demanding it. But he wasn't fighting for reparations. He was fighting for poor people. And we are a part of that group. So he was fighting for poor people. So I say, until we can get our act together in the black community, right? Because you got some people who are black folk who are arguing about whether you should have reparations. Black folk who are hiring and electing slave catchers and Negro whisperers. Black folk who have ill intent towards you. So until we can get our act together, it's going to be difficult. Because you got to get enough people in the House of Representatives, and then it's got to go to the Senate, then it's got to go to the president. So it's got to go through all those channels. So we got work to do. And we got to push from the bottom up. We don't have district leaders who are fighting for reparations. And we're talking about the guy at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? Are you kidding me? So I say, for me, I'm fighting for poor people. And we are the poorest of the poor people. So I'm fighting for poor people. So I looked and said, you know what? I'm attaching myself to what most closely resembles what Dr. King was fighting for. That's why I landed where I landed. I said, this movement over here is the movement that most closely resembles what Dr. King fought and was ultimately murdered for. So until we can get our act together, then I'm fighting for poor people, because we're part of poor people. Now, I see these posts up there. Oh, you know, Bernie lost. Bernie didn't lose. We're losing. The hell with Bernie, right? Bernie's got a best-selling book. Bernie's got 3 houses. Bernie Sanders is going to be okay. Trust me. So you all are posting this. It's ridiculous. You're posting, oh, Bernie lost. Oh, Bernie should go home. Bye, Bernie. Bye, Felicia. I'm saying, do you understand that you're part of the poor people? Do you get it? And so now, you caping for Biden. You're caping for the rest of them. None of them are fighting for poor people.
Nope.
None of them.
Nothing is going to change.
Wait a minute, Diane, we got to call her, so I'm gonna calm down.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, caller. Go.
Good morning, brother. You know I love you, but I gotta pull you back in a little bit.
You ain't pulling me back in today, man. I'm lit.
I'm pulling you back in. Okay. First, I'm gonna put first before I even pull you back in. Diane, can I be your running mate? Can I be your running mate?
I vote for you, Farrakhan.
A real brother standing up and saying, I don't see anything wrong with you putting yourself out there. You know why? Because everybody on my Facebook page was talking about Diane, you're crazy. You an elected official. You somebody that ran before. Now I know what they say about you. They say, ooh, they was getting nasty up in there. I had to tell them, look, this is my phone number. This is where I'm at. Come meet me. Now all of a sudden, everybody, I got stuff to do. Ain't nobody calling. Did you off my damn feed, please?
So what you got to say, Farrakhan?
Absolutely. But first, okay. Martin Luther King, yes, he was fighting for reparation. Okay? When he said, we're coming for the check.
Don't do that.
Let me finish. I always let you finish. Let me finish. When he said he was coming for the check, he was talking about black people. If you want to go and listen to it again, read it again, watch it again, he was talking about black people coming for the check.
No, Farrakhan.
Yes, he was.
Farrakhan.
He was talking about black
Farrakhan.
Farrakhan.
He was assembling the poor people. Listen. I'm gonna put the video.
Just as they are perverting the poor people's campaign, you are doing it there.
Nope.
The poor people's campaign
Farrakhan,
They are two
Farrakhan,
completely
I'm
different
gonna,
things.
Farrakhan, listen.
That's like calling the Blue Black Panther Party the same thing as the Black Panther Party.
Farrakhan,
1960-something.
Farrakhan, listen.
They're not the same.
Farrakhan.
So I got to put it back on that. Go ahead, brother.
No. Listen, I'm gonna post the videos because listen. Like I said, I was ready for today's show. So all the videos that I watched, all the reading I did last night, prepping for my speech today about Martin Luther King and the Poor People's Campaign, I will post all of them, and you will see that when he was talking about coming for the check, he was talking about an assemblage of black and white and Hispanic people coming down to Washington, camping out on the lawn there. That was the poor people. So I'm gonna post it for you so you can see. And that's what so what I'm saying is this, that that he was not specific. Now, he had an affinity for sure. I'm not denying that for black people because he was black, foundational black. He understood. But he understood more globally what America was doing to poor people. His vision about it went not just here, but it went overseas, which is why he started talking about the militarization of America, right? So he was talking about people as a pastor then. He was talking about all people underfoot. Yes, an affinity, a love for black people, foundational black people, American descendants of slavery, yes. But all people too. And so what I'm saying to you is this, that while we live our lives, right, as voters, never voting based on somebody who has a specific plan for black people. Because if we were voting based on that litmus test, then none of these people would be in office, right? None of them. Not one of them would be in office. None of these mayors, none of these councilmen, none of these congressmen and women, none of them. So I say,
but again, maybe that's why, like Diane said, it's time to vote for yourself. Stop giving your vote to people.
No, you could go vote. Listen, you could go and vote for yourself for sure, or you could realize that, you know what, we've been sick, right? And what we did in this particular election is we emotionalized a movement. We emotionalized it. We didn't physically attach ourselves to it and want to really do anything about it. We emotionalized it because it sounded good. So through the blogs and through the social media pages, people talking about ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery reparations, Times comes out with 1619 Project. That was all great. 400 years, right?
Yeah,
that was all great. Wait, let me finish.
Yesterday, their commercial for the 16.
Oh, it's a beautiful commercial. It's a beautiful.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday for the first time. I was like,
it's a beautiful. But my point to you is this. But my point to you is this, right? Other than that emotional feeling about it, we did nothing. We did nothing. We didn't do anything. All we did was sat there and said, well, that person's not talking about reparations. That person's not talking about reparations. That person. But we stepped over the entire graveyard, right, of elected officials that we've elected that never spoke to us about reparations. So how dare us? How dare? And you know what? And I'm going to tell you this, Farrakhan. These school board elections that are coming up, not one of those board members is talking about reparations. And you're not going to hear anybody murmur a word about the fact that, oh, I'm not going to vote for them because they're not talking about reparations. I'm not going to vote for them because they don't have anything specific for black people.
That's not the school board's job, though.
Wait a minute. Wait. Farrakhan. No. That is not true. Farrakhan. That is not true. Because look, Miseducation of a Negro. Every single one of those books in those schools that those board members allocate money to purchase are doing damage to our children every day. So how can we talk about repair?
I will agree with you.
Right. So how can we talk about repair when we're not repairing?
So, okay, I'll agree with you on that. Now, in the educational reparations field or segment, I guess yes, they do have, whether they call it reparations or not, that they're supposed to be doing something that repairs the damage.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
So
And so what I'm saying is,
that.
from the bottom up.
Before I hang up, right? I have to hang up, but before I hang up, I just want to say this. Black folks, go get your guns. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say that, right? If you look up, they're not even talking about it, right? But I had, just curiosity. I looked it up. They are selling out of ammunition.
Yep.
Coronavirus got them selling the guns and ammunition. And again, black folks who ain't got them, right, or not enough of them, are equal. Right? So we need to know this because I keep saying to people, listen, the true colors of people is going to come out when they start restricting things, telling people they can't come out the house and all of that. And National Guard start popping up. Watch how people respond. And black folks, we're not ready for it. And we better get ready.
Nah, it's too late, Farrakhan. I fear it is too late. Listen. Dr. King said.
Don't say it's too late, man. I got children. Don't say it's
Listen,
too late. You got kids.
Farrakhan, I fear that we are in such a deep slumber, man. Such a deep sleep. Farrakhan. You understand what I'm saying?
On everything. And again, we're relying strictly on their media to tell us. And that is our biggest problem. We're allowing our professed enemy to basically guide us through existence. And that's where the problem lies. We cannot keep doing it. But last night, some just said, I haven't heard them mention, because whenever there's anything happens, they always talk about guns and if they're selling and so forth. And I thought about the guy who approached Biden, right, at the motor plant, right? And that was what he was arguing with him about. He was arguing with him about guns. So I said, damn, let me see what they're talking about with guns, period. And so I Googled, and ammo.com, as it said, is selling out. Right? They said they are selling since February 28th or something like that.
Hey, Farrakhan, you know what, though? But see, here's the deal. I'm going to tell you where they're going to get black folk. Because what do we say? We say always change the mousetrap, right? They always reconfigure the mousetrap. When the cost of ammunitions go up, so you can get your gun, but the cost of bullets is going to go up. And then we won't be able to afford the bullets. So we'll have guns, but we won't have any ammunition. See, wait a minute, because understand, the Second Amendment, it says you have a right to bear arms. So that give you the... Listen, I'm telling you, watch. They will...
It's horrible, but I got to go. I'm going to try and listen while I do what I got to do.
All right, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Diane, when they raise the cost of a bullet up to $500, plus tax, it's over. Listen, I'm telling you, as long as they control the policies, as long as they have the political power, as long as they have the economic power, there's nothing you can do to equal, right? So Farrakhan's saying, hey, you need to be prepared. You can't prepare if you don't have economic and political power. You can't. They will roll over you with policies.
Okay, so let me give you some of the feedback from the feed. Real quick, because there's some funny stuff coming through. Sid Webster, MLK knew that we needed white allies, so we had to appeal to poor white folks to join our cause, to get anything done legislatively. And so far, civil rights has helped everyone else, but everyone else more than black folks.
Well, wait. Let me respond to that. So here's what Dr. King said to Sydney. Dr. King said what? He said, I fear that I have led my people into a burning house. Right? Because he was pursuing civil rights. And then he realized exactly what you saying, that everybody piled on civil rights. And then he said, you know what? The fight's not about civil rights. The fight is about economic and political power. That's what he said. And then he changed his focus. Then he started talking about the moderate white liberal, right? And said what a danger he was. So I agree with you. We should be singularly focused.
Okay.
In seizing economic and political power. The civil rights thing, not so much.
Jody Pittman, I think you're emotionalizing the issues, Eric.
Hey, Jody. You know what, Jody? I am emotional today. I'm emotional today because I'm watching my people. I'm watching them dance and parade around at their own funeral. At their own funeral. You got a guy who you've got black people who we have installed throughout government, right? And in our churches, who are guard dogging for the oligarchs and blocking us from our blessings, right? The Cory Bookers, the Kamala Harrises, the fish fry Jim Clyburns, right? Blocking us so that they can benefit personally. And we don't even see it. And we're dancing and parading around like immature folk who don't have good sense to understand how the pieces are being moved on the chessboard. So yeah, I'm emotional about it.
Jody says, but she loves your glasses.
Hey, Jeff.
Another person, Gaetano. I have 1,000 rounds for my M1 already in 10 clips. Okay, Gaetano. We know what's happening.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. I want to ask Gaetano a question because I put something up on my page where I said there are four types of people you'll encounter in your life, right? You'll encounter the one who's trying to free the slaves. You'll encounter the one who is the slave catcher. You'll encounter the one who doesn't know that they're a slave. And I forgot what the fourth one was. And Gaetano said that he's none of those. So my question is, well, reveal yourself. Tell me which one. What are you?
He's Gaetano. Next one, Caesar is, you can't in one handle criticize people for not speaking about reparations, but when a candidate you support in Sanders don't support it, lack a comprehensive black agenda or lack a black legislative history, you divert the conversation to other black officials.
Is that Cesare?
Wait, quiet. You divert the conversation to other black officials we elected who have it.
All right, so wait a minute. So that is that Cesare? Cesare Adams?
Yes, sir. Cesare. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So firstly, I gotta say, Cesare, thank you for doing what you do. You put your life on the line for all of us, brother, and I appreciate it. But what I'm gonna say to you again is this. It is not that white man's responsibility to fight for reparations for us. Malcolm says what? He says nobody's going to give you freedom. If you want it, you got to fight for it. And if you're not going to fight for it, if you're not man enough to do it, you don't deserve it. So I'm saying that we haven't done our job. We didn't do our job. And so now we're looking at a 78-year-old white man telling him that he should be doing something that we weren't focused on for all of our adult life. That's crazy. I'm not looking for him to do it. I'm looking for our elected officials to be focusing on code and then to push a narrative all the way to Trenton that then gets pushed up to the federal level, right? But we're missing all those steps, right? So if you look at how government is layered, district leader all the way up, there's no pressure coming from any of those levels about reparations. Not one, because we didn't do our job. We don't have our elected officials on code. But then we look at our televisions, right? And we throw popcorn at the screen and say, oh, he's not for reparations. Come on, stop it. You tell me which person you voted for is stepping out talking about they're for reparations. None of them. None of them. They're all cowards. But we elected them and we allowed them to be there and we allowed them to write policy that keep us anchored to the very bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. That's our fault. That's not Bernie Sanders' fault. That's not even Biden's fault. That's our fault. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to go and we're going to wind up re-electing Cory Booker knowing what a failure he is. When Cory Booker came to Newark to launch his presidential campaign, people should have been, and I'm speaking figuratively, not literally, because nobody should be assaulting anybody. But figuratively, we should have been throwing rotten tomatoes at him. But you know what we did? We caped for him. I saw black people who were dogging him when he was mayor, praising him when he was running for the president. Are you kidding me? That's us. And then that guy, when he was asked about reparations, what did he say? What did he say? But we're going to give him a pass because we don't want to take on the responsibility of doing the hard work.
Okay, so Cesare says he agrees. It's not his duty and job, but I'm making the comment based off of past conversations. And over always said to kick the whole damn congressional coon caucus out.
Yes, we got to kick them out. But that is my narrative. We got to blow it all up. We got to blow it all up from the very bottom all the way up, because all of them from the very bottom, listen, you can see how it's structured. So every year when they have in New Jersey, the League of the Municipalities, and all of those people, they drive down to Atlantic City to party and hang out. All of those people are supporting a system that is killing you. They're all dancing and drinking with a bunch of people who are planning and plotting your demise.
Well, I danced and drank with them, but I wasn't plotting your demise.
No, but you got to understand, Diane, that those people, listen, those people, listen, I will never, ever, 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 ever be around them. I understand what they're doing. See, you really do. You've got to and see, this is where I agree with Farrakhan, but I agree in a different way. You got to separate yourself from the thing that is killing you.
So again, going back, and we've talked about it before, but we have new people that are always tuning in.
Hey, new people. Hit the share button.
Hit the share button. Hit the thumbs up button on the bottom, the like. Go over to YouTube, share it with people who are scared to be on Facebook or don't want nobody to see us watching the show. Especially with this coronavirus, everybody's going to be home, so y'all should be tuning in. But anyway, so going back to before, we talked about, because we have been behind the scenes politically, at what point for you, Eric, did you realize that working with, and you've said it before, working with many of these candidates, Raz Baraka's mayors, council, Cory Booker, and his campaigns and stuff, at what point did you realize that you were on the wrong side, either on the wrong side of the fence, or something was seriously wrong with the system and how it was being
You know what, Diane? You know what? Seriously, that is a great question. And I'm not even BSing you. That's a great question. And it's almost like I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to say, hi, my name is Eric Dawson. My name is Eric Dawson, and I made terrible mistakes. And I did. And what I was doing back then is I was chasing money. Right? We're going to lay it all on the line, family, right? We're going to lay it all on the line. I was chasing money. You know, I went to school, got a degree in graphic design, and, I think that I'm a very good designer and people were willing to pay for my services. And so I wasn't looking at the damage it was doing to people, right? So I would get a phone call from a campaign. Hey, Eric, can you design this? Hey, Eric, can you do it? And for me, it was just the competitive nature of out-designing the designer from the other political campaign. It was me writing copy that was slicker than the copy from the other campaign. It was me taking photographs that were better than from the other campaign. I'm being honest with you, Diane. That's what it was about, right? And then they were paying me very, very well. Allowed me to live in a very affluent community, allowed me to buy a very nice house, allowed me to send my kids to amazing schools and go on trips and vacations and all that stuff. They allowed me to do that, and I didn't, and I apologize, which is part of, and I'm making recompense, and I'm being very serious with you all. When I show up here, even through all my cancer and through all of that stuff, when I came and my mother and my sister and everybody would say, Eric, you need to rest, you need to do this and the other. And I said, nope, I got to go do the show. It is me trying to make amends and apologize every single day for being a part of electing some of these people who have done such irreparable damage to the community. And that's why I'm calling them all out. None of them call me anymore. None of them. Because I am truthful about who they are and what they're doing. Now, they used to call me, right? So when I first started doing the show, they thought I was just doing it to get some attention, right? So I used to get phone calls. Hey, Eric, if you just stop, we'll give you a $100,000 contract. Hey, Eric, if you do this, we'll give you this, that, and the other. Hey, Eric, you want to do this? We'll give you blah, blah, blah. Hey, Eric, you want to do this? And I'm like, no. And then they started blocking opportunities that I had to do things. So when I read stuff and people say, well, Eric, what are you doing? Well, how are you contributing? You have zero idea how some of these people have tried to damage me because I continue to come here and talk truth to power about what's actually going on, right? But I am taking responsibility for what I did. I'm taking responsibility for board members that I helped get elected, who did nothing but drive our children into the gateways of hell because they're ill prepared to be competitive for these emerging jobs. This is true. This is true. So I had an awakening, Diane. I had an awakening, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. You know.
Did you feel like at a point that you were selling your soul to the devil, or you were killing your people at the same time?
I felt like, Diane, I'm telling you, I felt like a drug dealer in my community. So when we say on the show selling garbage is hope, that's what I was doing. I was selling bad dope in the name of Cory Booker, in the name of Marquise Lewis. I was selling bad dope in the name of Al-Tariq Kinney. I was selling bad dope in the name of all of those people. They were bad dope.
So, one person in the feed, Sid Webster, says, "Why apologize for doing a good job? We are all guilty of trying to make a living."
No. But see, it's how you make your living. No. It's Sid, and I appreciate that.
What I've learned from my mentor many years ago, all money isn't good money.
That's right. It's how you make your living. So when I looked, right, and I looked at in the wake of all the nice design work I did, nice photographs I did, beautiful copy, right, nice mailers you all got in the mail that might have persuaded some people to go and vote against their interests, right? Because you hear me talk about voting against your interests. I didn't care then whether you voted against your interests or not. It was my job to persuade you to do that.
So
that was wrong.
Were you voting the same way you were doing your work? So you were doing work for people?
Diane, I wasn't living. Listen, I wasn't living. See, here's the thing. I didn't live here, right? I was living in Berkeley Heights. You understand what I'm saying? I had a house with 2 acres of land.
So were you?
I was away from it. I wasn't connected to it. My kids weren't involved in it, so it didn't matter. It didn't matter if I helped get elected an incompetent person to the Newark Board of Education. It didn't impact me.
No. I'm talking about where you lived at. Were you so inclined to be involved and care about who you were voting for up there, or did you just randomly vote, or did you not vote, or because your work sometimes transfers over into your personal.
Right. No. You know what, Diane? I moved into a community that I didn't have to do that, right? That community was self-sustaining. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I moved there because the schools were incredible. I moved there because the crime was almost non-existent. I moved there because you could eat off the ground. I moved, and as long as those things were maintained, I didn't have to get involved, right? And there were enough people there that pressured to make sure that those things were maintained. So whether or not there was corruption in the government up there, it didn't bother me, right? As long as I drove down my street and I didn't have potholes, as long as I drove down my street and my garbage was picked up, the leaves were picked up, I got my services taken care of, as long as I looked at the rankings of the school and that school was ranked where it was or higher than where it was when I moved in, as long as those key performance indicators were in place, I didn't care. I had cookouts. I had 90, 100 people at cookouts at my house, and I was just partying. But what I was doing was dropping atomic bombs in Newark and in Irvington and East Orange and in Orange. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I was doing. And I wasn't caring enough about your children. I wasn't caring enough about your grandparents and parents. I wasn't caring enough about you. And at some point, I looked in the mirror and I said, "Who are you, Eric?" It's a great question you asked me, Diane, because I wrestle with this. So when you all see me show up, it's not for entertainment. There's a lot of damage that has been done. So when I say to you that I'm an insider, that I saw brown paper bags stuffed with cash handed out in churches and in back rooms, I'm not lying to you about that. None of those people give a damn about you. You got to take it seriously, people. They are plotting and planning your demise.
That's the reason why we're all in the situation that we're in now. Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, going to the national news. There's a lot of stuff going on with Trump. He's out there talking, running his mouth, flapping his gums, as people would say. And ain't nothing coming out. But what did come out is now he's saying that there is going to be a U.S. coronavirus travel ban that's going to hit 26 European countries. And that's going to start this Friday. So if you have family and relatives that are traveling for business or for personal that are in Europe, they better be back before Friday because he's shutting down the borders for real for the next 30 days. And because he made that announcement last night, the stock market has plummeted for the second day in a row, and they have shut down.
But understand what's happening again, right? Mm-hmm. We always have to stay focused, guys. And look, see, I try to stitch the show together, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about iconography, we talked about imagery, which is why I wear this hat every day. Well, not this one. I wear the blue one and I wear the black one. I'm getting your sun visor, Diane, by the way. But
thank you.
You're welcome, sweetie. But we have to understand, please, as you're looking at this, look through the glasses of a foundational Black American and say, well, okay, I understand what Trump is doing, but now as a foundational Black American, what is Trump doing, right? So we are always viewed and positioned by the corporation of white supremacy as the commodity to their wealth and power. That's it.
Right.
That's it. So whatever move they're trying to make, that is the ultimate thing to keep us in that position. So Trump, in doing what he's doing, is simply focused on winning the election in November.
Absolutely.
That's it. He don't give a damn about you. He don't give a damn about your safety. He don't give a damn about your family that may be abroad. He don't give a damn about any of that. Every move he's making right now is based on this one thing. He was prepared to talk about how strong the economy was. When he was going into the general election, he was going to talk about promises made, promises kept. That was going to be their slogan. Promises made, promises kept. The economy is roaring. Now, look at the stock market. Look at the cottage industries. See, he's going to have to answer for all of those. All the people in pain. See, it was all a house of cards that is now falling apart. And like I said, if America has a cold, Black people got pneumonia. And so now, all of the folks, when they close the schools, and I saw what you posted, Diane, about, you know, people should be looking at starting daycare or babysitting services, right?
Yeah.
Think about in the Black community, when they start closing these schools and they start telling people to stay home from work. How you going to pay your bills?
Uh-huh. So you have to do...
See, elections have consequences, people.
Go back to, so in the 60s when they had the Montgomery bus boycott, and Black people said, we're not going to ride your buses if you don't allow us to sit where we want on a bus. They had to work together to get back and forth to the job. Some lost their jobs, some were able to keep their jobs, some people carpool, many people walked. So we have to start thinking in that way. I was talking with another group, interacting with another group last night, business online Facebook page, and they were talking about how prepared are you if your business shuts down? Will your business shut down because of coronavirus? Will you be affected? Can you work from home? Is your internet system at home up to par? Will you be able to continue business uninterrupted while you're at home? And small businesses don't always think of those things, which is part of, planning, business planning. That's the reason why a lot of businesses don't stay in business a long time, because they never do a long business plan. They never think about continuation or business interruption or what may happen. So I thought about what can people do that they can make money, cash money on hand, while other people who will not be able to leave work and still will be at work, like your nurses, your healthcare workers, they will be still working, your EMTs, law enforcement, they will still be working, and some of them have kids who will be in school and they can't stay home with their kids.
Right.
What's something that you can do in the house? 1 or 2 kids, 3 kids tops that you can babysit throughout the day for a small amount so that you can still continue to live and survive. I don't think that's a bad thing. Then somebody in my township, she posted up if anybody needed baby daycare services or babysitting services because the schools will be closing, to reach out to her. And I reposted it because it makes sense. If you've been in childcare before, if you are grandma and you know people know you that grandma or that person at church that can watch and babysit people, then that's your side hustle. And that's what people need to be looking at and stop depending on, these words out of Trump's mouth talking about everybody's going to get paid sick leave. Well, everybody can't get paid sick leave because business have not accommodated.
Right, but this is what I'm going to say even about that, Diane, though. But here's the challenge with that. And I applaud on the surface the idea, but I'm not sending my kid to somebody else's house in the middle of coronavirus. I don't know.
You ain't sending your damn kids to a stranger. I'm talking about your neighbor that you know, that the kids play with their kids.
No, but that's my point, Diane. These kids with their runny noses and their germs, it's a petri dish. Why would I send I'm not sending my kid listen, Diane. Hey, Diane, do you remember the what was it? When my kids were little, they had the ballrooms, right, with all the little different color balls, and they would jump into the. Diane, that was
Chuck E. Cheese and stuff.
That was the nastiest thing ever. Nasty.
What? That was fun.
No, Diane, all those kids with runny noses, right? Snot-filled noses. Are you kidding? No.
Chuck E. Cheese and Union on Route 22, and we enjoyed jumping in the balls and crawling through that little maze that went over.
No.
That's good fun.
No, my kids were like germaphobes. They didn't go in any of that stuff. And listen, and to Cesare asked if I got these glasses from Joe Biden. No. You know what, though?
Yeah.
But if I took them from him, he wouldn't know. Something's wrong with Joe.
That's not nice. Shut up.
But something's wrong with Uncle Joe. And we have to be honest about it.
We can't make jokes about it, but yeah, something is
Diane,
medically different.
something is wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
And going back to the babysitter, so I just want to say, my babysitter that I had for my daughter passed away yesterday, 107 years old.
Wow.
Mrs. Ernestine Thomas. She babysat my baby when I worked for the man. And I worked for 3 different mans because I was hustling and doing my thing. And in the summer, she watched her during school outages, days they were closed, she watched. When she was homesick, she watched her. So people like that are the people that you cherish and will definitely watch your kids. And she never charged me.
Wow.
Never charged me a penny. And there were other women in the church that babysit probably everybody in the church that babysat my child and never charged me a dime. Never.
Hey, Diane, so, I don't want to be 107.
Shut up. Let me tell you, she lived a good life.
Diane,
she was down at the senior center in South Jersey, the United Methodist Senior Center. I can't think of what town it was, but it's outside of like Camden, Philadelphia area. I went down there to visit her last year. She was on her walker, and she told me, look, Diane, it's lunchtime. I got to go to lunch. I'm going to the dining hall. You can walk me down here. You sit out here and wait till I'm done.
Yeah, no. See, because I think you get to a point.
She was doing good.
I think you get to a point in age, right, where every night when you go to bed, you really rolling the dice about whether you're going to get up.
No.
Like when you're about 100, Diane.
No, I'm telling you.
Listen, no. I'm talking about me in the way that I am. I know that when I say goodnight, if I'm 100 years old and I say goodnight, and I say goodnight, I'm really thinking, yo, this is it. I'm going upstairs, so you better say goodnight to me, because
A Wonderful Life. Well, let me tell you, she's not the only one. She was 107. There was another member of our church, Miss Minnie Richardson. She passed away last month. She was 109. She was the oldest one in our church. I had a grandmother that passed away at 102. So, you know, us women, you know, us black women, we stick it out. Coronavirus and all. So,
Hey.
I'm going to tell you.
Oh, speaking of the coronavirus, so they shut down the NBA. They postponed the NBA. The March Madness is going to go on, but they're not going to have. They're only going to have family in the stands at the games.
And that's smart. That's really smart because, in all honesty, it's the same thing. Somebody was saying, "Oh, it's not going to be the same with the finals." I said it'd be the same way as if my kid was playing and I had to work and I couldn't get there. It's the school and whoever else is there. They'll be fine. They'll play just as well. And we'll
No, you know what? I disagree. I think that part of those kind of sports, like when they talk about home court advantage or one team's crowd lifts them up, right, and helps give them momentum and swing the momentum during the course of the game. You know, if you drain a three and there's nobody there cheering, it's different. You know what I mean? Like, who you pumping your fist to?
Let me tell you, they can make it work.
Diane,
they can make it work.
Well, they're going to have to.
Huh?
They're going to have to make it work.
Yeah, they'll make it work. And the other thing besides that is the NBA, when they shut down, they said one player showed signs of the coronavirus. And people were trying to figure out, okay, so if it's just one player, when did he get it? How did he get it? I said, well, you know, they've been traveling for the last couple of weeks. So it's a possibility that more of them may show symptoms later on in the week.
Listen, I read something this morning that said when these tests finally come out, there's going to be millions of people. They said it is going to grow exponentially in terms of, I mean, look at what happened in Italy. Look at how exponentially it grew. I'm telling you, look, you have seen nothing yet. It is going to get far, far worse. Far, far worse.
It'll get worse before it gets better.
And they're saying that it's going to be at least a year. At least a year before there's a cure. At least a year before there's a cure.
Now, Gaetano was saying that they were talking about holding off until August just to freeze things over as if that was a good idea. But it's cold, it's chilly now, so I don't know.
Hold what over?
Difference. I don't know.
What's Gaetano talking about?
I don't know what Gaetano's talking about. Gaetano, you smoking over there? I need you to talk in complete sentences. You know, I'm slow sometimes. The numbers will absolutely go up. Yeah, they definitely will go up. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at right now with the coronavirus. The stock market has shut down. That is interesting to me. So I think what they're trying to do is stop it because everybody. So there are so many different industries. Let's start with that. Different industries that are really directly affected with this. Travel industry. People are not traveling. People are canceling their flights and stuff like that. Trains, buses, all of that. However, it's also on the flip side a great time, like I said before, to purchase airline tickets to go somewhere. You don't have to go right now. You can postpone it all the way out to December that I've seen so far. Actually, February. And buy the cancellation fee, if necessary, to travel. So you can get those great flights and hotel rates and all of those things. So that is good. So, but the travel industry is affected. The oil industry is affected as well.
Diane, look, every industry is affected. You know,
yeah,
I mean,
but
think about
more than others.
Look, I disagree. I think that every industry is affected. So if you're talking about travel, then you're talking about hotels, you're talking about housekeeping, you're talking about the vendors who bring the food, you talk about the truck drivers who have to drive the food from different, like literally you go down the line, everybody's going to be impacted by this.
Yeah, everybody's impacted, but not everybody is going to be affected the same way because on the flip side, you're going to have other businesses that will flourish. You have delivery services that will flourish. You will have what do you call it? Chemical companies that make these chemicals and stuff for disinfectants and sanitizers. They will flourish. The plastic manufacturers, they're going to flourish.
So I want to ask you a question, Diane.
I also think that some industries will sprout up because we can no longer take stuff from outside of Europe for at least the next 30 days anyway.
So Diane,
I think that there are some manufacturing companies that have the opportunity right now to jump on board and to revamp up here in the United States so we can get that made in United States stamp again like we used to have back in the 80s and 70s.
Listen, Diane, speaking of industries that are going to suffer and or flourish, so do you do Uber Eats and DoorDash?
No, I don't do Uber Eats and DoorDash because I read an article and they talk about how out of a certain percentage of the deliveries, they go into your food and eat your French fries.
That's actually right. And so now, wait a minute, I got to blow my nose. I don't have the coronavirus. I just got a runny nose. But, so, if they eat your French fries now, and you don't know if they have coronavirus, and they're sticking their fingers in your fries.
Right.
See, I would cancel Uber
well,
Eats.
I don't do it, so I'm
No, but I'm saying for those people who still do it, I cancel it.
Yeah, well, I would be extra cautious, or what I would do, and this is what I did as a business owner yesterday for my clients. I sent out a advisory email to let them know how my operations of the business will continue. I think all businesses and all industries, especially restaurant businesses, should have these on their any social media page, whatever page they have, to let people know how they are handling this situation and how they're taking extra precautions to make sure that your deliveries and your food is safe. I think that's the alternative to make sure that they continue to have customers or to even grow customers. Because one customer said, "Oh, my stuff came double bagged and snapped and this, that." You know, they were extra.
Well, you know, I think that, you know what, Diane, I think
that
that any restaurant, and I believe this, do you remember the whole Tylenol thing that happened when we were younger? And that's why they started putting the safety seals around food. Because when I was a kid, you didn't have safety seals around anything. And then you had that Tylenol issue, and they started putting safety seals around stuff. Well, I think,
I said no because I was a baby when you was a kid.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. So, but I think that restaurants who want to participate in Uber Eats should have to repackage for Uber Eats and for DoorDash, right? So that when you get your food, you can see that it's tamper-proof.
Yeah, they have the containers that you can seal it in. They also have, and I'll tell you an inexpensive way to do it. I just thought about it. You know, they used to sell I used to watch a lot of late night TV, and they had those infomercials where you can plastic seal, what do they call it? Super seal, your frozen seal, your stuff.
Right.
Just buy the container and you stick the plastic in and it comes out and it super seals it and takes holds the air. They could do that and transport your food over in that way. And that way you know it's not opened or been tampered with since it left the kitchen.
They gotta do something. Call or go.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted to make a couple of suggestions. It's great, talking business models and everything, but we're already behind the 8 ball on the community spread. We're already behind the 8 ball with infectious control. We're already behind the 8 ball on testing. I know a lot of officials listen to your show, and if we don't start testing seriously testing people to control this virus, you won't be worrying about no damn business model and how your food gets delivered, how much money you can make, because you can have all the money in the world, but if this virus hits you the wrong way, you're going to be in big trouble. But the community spread is already stuff. The NBA made a fatal mistake yesterday. They let this man he'd been playing for a couple of days. They had already, we were already behind on testing, and then they found out they gave him a test. all the other people on the team, they just let leave. They let the fans leave. They didn't try to control. My main concern is we are so lax at this thing. If we don't start looking at it a little bit more critically, I'm not trying to scare anybody or anything like that, but I know you have a lot of people listening to your show, and people need to be focused on testing. Everybody need to get a test. Because this thing sits dormant for 2 weeks, and you just move and go. People sneezing, coughing, and rubbing and everything else. And 2 weeks go by.
Oh, that's why I said it's going to grow exponentially, Mike. Because people, while people are not getting tested, folks are still going around, doing whatever they're doing, shaking hands, exchanging money or goods or services. They're not washing their hands, and it is spreading as we speak. Listen, right now, something just came through my feed. It says the House is to vote on a coronavirus bill to support families. As Speaker Nancy Pelosi holds her weekly press conference today, the House will vote on a coronavirus response package that aims to provide support for families affected by the pandemic, including paid sick leave for those people who don't have it, free testing to those with no insurance, and setting aside funds for food assistance programs. This would be on top of the $8.3 billion response package that President Donald Trump signed last week. So, look.
Well, let me say one thing before you go forward.
Yep.
It can go to McConnell's desk and sit there like the other 1,000 bills he got sitting. Everybody needs to call this man. And all the rest of these damn Republicans who seem to think this other idiot they got up in the front office up there, it can do no wrong. And get him the side of first get McConnell to bring the bill for a vote, and then this man needs to sign it, man, because all of us gonna have to stay indoors at some point. That's that's what I think. That's what I envision. But go ahead, I'm listening.
No. So here's my thing, guys, and I want you to pay attention to this. So right now, what they're talking about is socialism.
Yes, they are.
Come on. Stay with me now.
Yes, they are.
Stay with me. What they're talking about is socialism. When people say, well, the government isn't supposed to do, well, wait a minute. See, the government is supposed to be a bridge that helps people out, right? And so now here we have people who don't have sick leave, and so they understand now what the government understands, but see, they're not doing it because they give a damn about you. They're doing it because they need you to stay alive. See, when I say you're in hospice, they need you to stay alive so you can continue to be the commodity to their wealth and to their power. So they don't need the economy to crumble. So all those people who benefit off of you spending money, right, whether it's your landlord or the store or wherever you shop, they need to keep pumping money into you. And so they need to keep you alive. Right? So they're looking at the economy crumbling, and you support it through your spending. And so they're going to give you more money through these programs so you keep spending so that their economy and their wealth and their power continues to grow. Wake up! Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I appreciate Jody saying that I'm emotionalizing it, but I mean, I just can't understand why people can't see this. So wait a minute. On one hand, Diane, let me finish this point. So on one hand, there was a deputy mayor who was on a thread a couple of days ago saying, the guy who's talking about all the free stuff, he's going to be out of the race. Well, wait a minute. But this is all free stuff, right? They're talking about giving people stuff. Is that okay? So when is it okay and when is it not okay? I mean, you got to make up your mind.
Your tax dollars coming back to you is free stuff, but your tax dollars going to corporations and politicians is well earned. You know what I mean? These people are backwards in their thinking.
They're backwards, Mike. I mean, right now, you hear them talking about recovery packages for these industries that are gonna tank, right?
Yeah.
So all of that is socialism, right? It's corporate socialism. right? They're looking, saying, the government has to step in and has to provide relief. And so the only question is, well, what about the 99% who are suffering? Should the government not come in and provide relief? See, we gotta. So all of this is unfolding right in front of us. And so for all of the people who said, "Oh, we shouldn't be dependent on the government to do," well, they're getting ready to sign this bill. Well, they're gonna send it up to McConnell, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm handcuffed to the steering wheel, man. I gotta go back to work. Have a good one. Enjoy. Be careful out here.
You too. So Diane, we're in trouble. We're confused. Black people are literally confused. They don't know what to do. They're waiting for somebody else to tell them how to vote, who to vote for, because they don't. Look, we are more democratic, or more Democrats than we are anything else.
We are Democrats first.
We're Democrats first.
We put being a Democrat before our own selves, race, family, and everything else.
Before everything, Diane. Now, Diane, listen. And it's a slave mentality, right? Because, what did we do when we were on the plantation? We had the master's last name, right? So that's who we were before anything else. We belonged to, right. Yep. We told people who we belonged to. We had a brand on us, right? Mm-hmm. See, and so now we got a brand. It's a D. That's who we are. I was reading that Clyburn is now calling for the DNC to end the debates. To call it. Now wait a minute. Let's stay with this. Do you remember when Bernie Sanders was the front runner, right?
Yep.
And people were arguing that because they believed that Biden's campaign was over. And they were saying, well, if you have the plurality of the votes, then it shouldn't go to the floor. There should not be a contested convention. You should give the votes. You should give it to the person who has the most votes. And they asked all of those candidates who were still on the debate stage. And what did they all say? They said, nope, we're going to follow the process. We're going to go all the way to the convention.
That's right.
Now they say, oh, we don't want to do that anymore. But I'm telling you, you still don't have a considerable number of the delegates counted yet. Now, you have states that are favorable to Biden based on demographics and such. But you're watching, like, in real time. They're just changing the rules as they go. They changed it to get Bloomberg in, and they changed it to do this. They changed it to get this one out. They changed it to move this over here, right? Then they changed it to make sure that Tulsi Gabbard couldn't get on the debate stage.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. We keep talking about Sanders and Biden, but Tulsi Gabbard is still in the running.
She's still in the race.
She's still in the race. She is. So there are 3 Democratic options out there. But people are so asphyxiated with Biden and voting for him that they have totally looked past her. You know why? Because they say America's not ready for a female president, so we'll vote for the white man. America's not ready for her because she doesn't have the right what do you call it pedigree. So we're gonna vote for Biden because Biden's been in office since 1973. He has been an elected official. 1973. I don't get it with the people. But Tulsi, we have totally been ignoring. We have been ignoring since the first time that she was up there on the stage. Why is that? She has contributions to give. She's smart. She serves in the Middle East. People are always talking about military. We need somebody with a strong military hand for the United States. She has the experience of military because she was in the Army National Guard. So I don't understand, what are people doing? Are they really thinking for themselves, or are they really following what the media is saying and they're disregarding Tulsi? Because now Tulsi is getting sidebarred like Sanders was getting sidelines. But what's going on? And Jody Pinkman says just because she's a woman.
Well, yeah. Well, look. We understand. We see what it is. We talk about the corporation of white supremacy. We talk about the oligarchs. We talk about all of these things here on the show. It is all unfolded. And look, I don't blame them. They say don't hate the player, hate the game. See, they're playing the game. We have opportunities, right? And I continue to say this, guys. We have opportunities to build solid foundations within our communities. And we fail to do that. Right? We fail to hold these people accountable at the local level. So they run wild through the political fields, and they jump on and off campaigns and support whoever they want, and all of those people working against our particular interests.
Going back to what you stated about the DNC and what Clyburn was saying he was trying to eliminate. Tulsi, what is it? Gabbard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tulsi Gabbard states that she won't seek re-election in the House this year, and she has accused the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, of arbitrarily sidelining her by stiffening the qualifying rules for debate as the primary process progresses. She also states that the DNC previous rules changed regarding the number of donations a candidate must acquire, which paved the way for billionaire Bloomberg to self-fund his campaign.
But Diane, but my thing is this. We all sit back and allow that to happen, right? So again, there's a fight. There's a definite fight happening right now. And I'm saying there are only two sides to this fight. You got the people protecting the interests of the oligarchs, the 1%, right? You got those people, and you got everybody else. That is the fight. That's the fight. You're not on that side, but they've convinced you that you're on that side. Or, like Kevin says, you just go in your house and you lock your door and you pull your shades down. Right?
So,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. So what she's saying is, and my screen is all over the place, she says also is a lot of other candidates who have outraised and outspent her by multiple times have not been able to stay in the race. And she feels as though she has, of course, she has the fiscal responsibility with the dollars that the people are contributing to her campaign to maximize the effect and being able to get her message out to the voters across the state and the country. So again, I will say to people, why haven't you been talking about her, and why haven't you been pushing her out there? Because we talked about her early on in the race, and we weren't against her. I think that she had a lot of great points. I think that she was a great debater. Why she's not out there, I don't know. But did you see the video I sent you of Marianne Williamson about her coronavirus meditation?
I did, but before I comment on that, we got a call. Caller, go.
Good morning, this is Dixon. I'm listening to the show, and the information about the coronavirus getting out, I believe that is very...
Caller, your voice is muffled. I don't know if you're trying to disguise your voice, but your voice is muffled.
No, I'm not trying to disguise my voice. I said my name. My name is Eric.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe something wrong with the phone. But my point is the information you're putting out about the COVID-19 is very important, I believe. And I'll give you a quote, and I may have even heard on the show within the last few days, but when America gets a cold, African Americans get pneumonia. So what happens when any pandemic or any sickness that comes into this country, it always winds up in the black community, mainly because we don't have the means to be able to eradicate most of the stuff. We don't have the insurance. We don't have the wherewithal and all of that. And I just want to make sure that, everybody understands that, our community is targeted for stuff like this, and we really, really, really need to be careful about how we move forward, and we need to get together as far as our people who run our communities and our black associations and our shows and platforms like yours, and make sure that we are cognizant that this thing is coming after our community And we got to find ways to be able to help eradicate it from our people.
Well, look,
And
what I'm gonna
again,
say
I
is
know
this:
you
like,
off that subject, but I just
look, like I said,
I'm sorry.
to the earlier caller, we are in such a deep slumber, caller, that I fear that that it is too late. Right? When we are a community of people who don't fight back when it is clear that our government, local government, lied to us about our water supply. When we don't fight back, when we know that our children are being pipelined to prison through these failing schools, right? When we don't fight back and push back, when we have poor city services and our neighborhoods are filthy, when we don't fight back in any of those instances, when we don't push back, I'm saying, well, what is it that makes you believe? You know, it's kind of like, here's a sports analogy. If you've not trained and practiced, right, all year long, how do you believe you're going to get on the football field with highly tuned athletes who've been practicing all year long and perform up to level with them? It's not going to happen. And I'm saying that our intellect, our will has atrophied because we've sat lazily, you know, tuned into crap shows on TV and involving ourselves in other nonsensical stuff. And when I say that we're not intellectually curious, right? I mean, so all of these things, right, have just kind of, you know, over time have just kind of...
Eric, but still at the same time, those are our kids out there. You know, at the same time, those are our parents out there. You know,
well, but right, but okay. So Carl, look. I'm sorry to give you the grim picture. Those are our same parents who were out there last year, year before last, year before that, year before that. And so you understand what I'm saying? So those are our parents who've been getting mugged. Those are our parents who've been getting carjacked. Those are our parents who've been getting shot at. Those are our parents who have to duck and dodge bullets and can't walk and drive down certain streets because of fear of violence. I mean, come on. Those are our same parents. And so now you think that all of a sudden we're going to care about our parents? I'm saying, look, look.
Well,
prove me wrong. Look, I want somebody to prove me wrong. Listen, let me ask you a question, caller. You're calling from Irvington, right? So here's my what has the mayor or the council in Irvington, what have they done so far to notify the residents in Irvington, you know, and to try to rally people in Irvington around this issue?
Well, they put an informational out on the website.
On the website. And now let me ask you another question. What percentage of Irvington residents do you think don't have access to internet?
I think everybody, maybe about 85% has it. Maybe 15% don't.
Okay.
Everybody has an instantaneous communication device in their hands. You know, I mean, that's no. So whether or not they have a PC or whether or not they have,
you think that 85% of the residents? I was looking at the median income in Irvington, the poverty rate in Irvington, and you think that 85% of the people have internet access there?
Yeah, if you're walking around with a cell phone, I think you pretty much have internet access. I just believe that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that is more so where they're directing their internet searches to. And I don't think that nobody's really in our community, and that's why I called. It's because I don't think that we're taking it seriously. If they're shutting down sporting events and public events and people aren't going to work and shutting down schools, then we really need to take a look at this because, again, our community is the most susceptible and the least able to prepare themselves or protect themselves against something like this. And it's shown in pandemic after pandemic and sickness after sickness. When AIDS came into the community in the 80s, you know, did it start in the black community? No. But it ultimately really end up in the black community? Yeah. To the point where we have more of our women were infected with the disease, the virus, than anybody else's women across the world. So, I mean, history repeats itself, and I just see it as a bad omen if we don't seriously, you know, as a community, seriously take a look at protecting ourselves at the community
Well, like I said, again, so here you have, this is the only thing I'm saying to you, caller. You have a disproportionate number of people who don't have adequate health care or don't have health care at all in our community, right? And elections have consequences. And so you've got on the debate stage now candidates who are talking about healthcare in the middle of this pandemic, healthcare. And I'm saying to you that folks are not out there fighting about that. They're not intellectually curious about, which candidate is really fighting and pushing for them. And even in the middle of this, even in the middle of this, do you understand what I'm saying? Even in the middle of this, you have candidates who are talking about taking away health care. So Kevin Jenkins used to say, just go and dig a ditch and jump in it. We've got problems. We got problems, and we're waiting for somebody else to solve them. So now we're waiting for somebody else to decide, right? Because we're not willing to go to the mat and do the necessary work to make sure that we have proper health coverage and we have all of the things that are necessary, to fight something like this. We're not ready to do that. But we'll sit and watch somebody else fight. And this is what I always say, caller. I say, we have been conditioned to settle for less. So we've been conditioned to settle for our current, status. But we'll accept more, but we'll take more if somebody else is going to fight for it. But we're not going to fight for it. But if somebody else is willing to fight for it and they get it, then we want some of that. But we're not willing to put anything on the line to get it ourselves. And like Malcolm said, if you're not ready to fight for it, you don't deserve it. And I'm at that point too, where you don't deserve it. If you're not willing to fight for it, then you don't deserve it. Move out of my way. Get your hand out my pocket. I'm fighting for me and for mine.
Sounds like one. Thanks a lot, E. I appreciate the time.
Hey, brother, thank you for the call. How's the campaign going?
Campaign's going well, sir. Actually, it's funny you said that. What have our public officials done in the face of this? So what we're doing in my campaign is we're going out giving indications of interest for our campaign. We're also handing out informationals, via the campaign about making homemade hand sanitizer in the event that you can't get any at the store. It's just not even available. How do you safely and properly make that? And, just let people know that, we care about what's going on in the community. And we want to, not have this, take over our community in a very negative way. So, that's a small thing, and I'm not giving people money to go to the doctor or anything like that, but a little information can go a long way in a lot of cases, and that's just what we're trying to do as far as the corona thing is concerned. As far as
are you passing out information to people's houses? How are people getting information in your town?
That's how they're getting. How they're getting it.
Okay, in our town we don't have a website, so.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're doing it hand to hand mainly because I think that as the advisory goes, they want you to avoid big crowds, So, but if you're in a more intimate setting, 1-to-1, I'm walking around clean. I don't want to wear gloves and shake people's hand, but it's going to probably get to that, and it's just going to. It really is trying to just be as safe as you possibly can, because you don't want to take that home to your parents and you're out here trying to to your neighborhood or your community. You go to work or you go to a movie and enjoy yourself. You don't want to take that home to your family. So it's really trying to be vigilant and let people know, stay on their toes, watch what's going on around them. Anything that new happens that as far as breakthroughs and trying to eradicate it, that you're on it and you're trying to stay with it. And again, all of our seniors in our communities, they're living in enclosed buildings, with 1,000 of them at the same time. So one of them gets it, all of them was going to get it. So it's just a lot of things that we have to look at, like schools and so on and so forth. So I just want people to be vigilant and stay on top of what's going on in our community.
Yeah, listen, it's gonna be a nightmare. Speaking of school,
this one too.
it's gonna be a nightmare. It is going to be a nightmare when they have to close these schools.
Well, they are closing them, and it is a nightmare. What's going on? Have you been working with, or how active has your Board of Health director in your town been working? Because that's the ground person in the town that should be disseminating information.
Honestly, I'm not exactly sure, what their agenda is at this point, but I would assume, even though they did put, information on the web address, that job wouldn't tell them to get out in the community and start making people aware of what they need to do and how they need to, keep themselves safe. So, it's a great question, and I will call and ask about it. Matter of fact, it's what I could do as a layman in the community.
Absolutely, because the board of director in each town, and some towns may have their own public health person, or they may be sharing it with other towns and stuff like that. They are the person to contact people you should be in contact with to disseminate the information, and they would, and also to get information out to your seniors, because many seniors who may not be in the senior buildings, who are living at home, but not on social media, may not be watching TV, or just, isolated from a lot of family and stuff like that, and they need to get the information. Or another way to get to them is also through Meals on Wheels, because they deliver to those homebound families. So that's a way for you to connect with them to at least, give the information out so they could pass out information, flyers, pamphlets, so they would know as well.
Awesome. That's great information. Thank you so much.
All right.
So, Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
So we got...
we're both Eric.
Eric Dawson.
Yes, ma'am.
So we got Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi. I'm just going to say Tulsi. Our wonderful Hawaiian candidate, Democratic candidate that needs some love, and people need to be showing her some love. So we need to work on that. And then I read and I sent you an article.
Wait a minute. You wanted to talk about Marianne Williamson, remember?
Oh, Lord Jesus. Marianne Williamson. Did you see the video? And I sent you the longer version because I couldn't figure out how to copy. I still haven't learned Instagram to copy the video from there to send to you, because it was a 3-minute video that actually just did the shorter version. That's why I said watch the first couple of minutes and then the last 30 seconds of the video.
Right.
Of her and her coronavirus meditation. Now, this is the woman that was up there running for president and got a lot of support. We should be very concerned with people who were supporting her.
Why? Listen, look. I believe.
Wasn't she the candidate that was backing reparations seriously?
Yes, she was back. She was supporting reparations. She was a spiritual advisor to Oprah. She's shady. I mean, her little elevator don't go to the top. She could be very intellectually smart, but there's some things that she's doing that I'm side-eyeing
I think
her.
that she's just unconventional, right? And I think that so for instance, I'll tell you this. But I'll tell you this. As I was recovering, and I'm still recovering, right? I had traditional medical doctors, and I had non-traditional services as well, right? And all of it kind of worked together. So you've got, that non-traditional stuff, which talks about healing through energy, right? Healing through all of those, which is where I think she was.
Well, your body is made up of energy. So
I think that her position was, you know what? Yeah, you could look medically at the coronavirus, and you could, I don't know that she's saying you shouldn't, if there's a vaccine.
She wasn't. I didn't get into what she was talking about, because I just said her elevator don't seem to go to the top. But the very end of it, I just thought was very.
I thought she was very, very smart on the
debate.
Question.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, she was smart on all of it. She was smart on the fact that one of the biggest. Look, this country is sick, right? It is spiritually sick.
Well, that's how
and she talked about that, and she talked about a moral turbulence, right? And so while this sickness is occurring, and we're not addressing the sickness, and we're trying to move forward. She was saying on the debate stage, you can't until you come to grips with this moral turbulence. And I think that when she's talking about the coronavirus, she's saying, look, you can look at your physical and work on dealing with that, but we are so sick spiritually, right? That a lot of these things, and not just that, but the way we eat, the energy we allow into our space, our lack of sleep, all of these different things, right? So it's not just that thing. You got to look holistically at it. And I think that she comes from an unconventional perspective that says, I look at all of these things and I say all of them play a role. It's like Jenga, right? If you pull one thing out, it's off balance. So she's saying everything's got to be in balance. So don't just look at this coronavirus thing in isolation. Look at it holistically and then deal with that's absolutely right, and then deal with it like that. So I don't think that her elevator doesn't go look, they say that there's a thin line between insanity and genius. They say it's a real thin line. And if you knew, wait a minute, can I tell you this? This is true story. A house that I rented in Berkeley Heights is a house that Albert Einstein used to visit. Right? And there were photographs of him in that house. And I bring that up because Albert Einstein, some would say that he was a little loopy, right? But he was a genius. And that's what I'm saying. There's a thin line, a razor thin line between genius and insanity.
Because Albert Einstein wasn't all that genius. He was a white man who took a black slave's ideas and profited off of it.
Well, hey, listen, that is the genius of the corporation of white supremacy.
So that's the manipulation of who they are as the reason we're in the mess that we're in right now. But okay, if you say she's not,
fair enough.
I'll go with it. I agree to disagree. I'm good with it. But the other thing that I
had a call. Sorry.
Take care. The other thing that I saw was there was an alert that was put out that a North charter school shut down after a teacher was exposed to coronavirus, and that was yesterday. So People's Prep Charter School was evacuated after the school learned that a teacher was in contact with a confirmed coronavirus patient.
Really?
Yeah. So they're talking about home instruction, and how they stated they're sending out a newsletter, how they're going to assign the students to learning packets, which is very similar to what my daughter was saying she was doing at her school, preparing for that, and that the students would check their emails, and the teachers would be emailing packets out to them, which is a little different because I don't know how different it is, but the conversation that I was having with my daughter and she was having with her other person on the team, and they were talking to their Department of Education, and they were saying, well, we'll give you tablets and Chromebooks for your children. And she said, that's great. However, we can't accept it because we can't assume that all of our kids have Wi-Fi at home.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was asking Eric. I said, how many people, have access to the internet? And he was saying 85%. I'm saying, whoa, no. I don't think that's true.
So even if it was 85, you got 15% that's not going to get it.
Yeah, but I think that those numbers are much higher than that.
Yeah, so the other thing is what they're saying with this particular school, after that they're going to reopen it, but their steps include cleaning services and companies coming in to do a deep cleaning. But my thing is, okay, so you close the schools a week, a couple of days, whatever the time period may be, you have a cleaning company in. Majority of these cleaning companies are the worst. But you hire a cleaning company to come in to disinfect, to do all of this. The kids have been home, exposed to other people. They come back to the clean building and recontaminate the building. What good does that do? I think if they're going to clean and disinfect, they should be doing it while the kids are in the school. So if the kids are coming to school every day, then in between every off day or however they do it in between the weeks, there should be an extra clean for disinfecting and stuff like that. Because otherwise, all you're doing is recontaminating a clean building.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's out there and that's happening. So that's one school in Newark Charter School, and they haven't talked about any other schools in Newark or the system as to what they plan on doing in regards to that. Tom Hanks and his wife Rita came out today.
Man.
They're in Australia. They said they were coming down with chills and a fever, and they thought they were going to shake it, and body aches, and they thought they were going to shake it, and then it progressed. But now they have it, and this is so funny. Tom Hanks is funny. He posted a picture of him in his rubber glove called Wilson, talking about him and Wilson will be fine. And if anybody knows, that Wilson was his soccer ball when he did that movie. What was the
Passed
movie?
Away. I thought that was a brilliant
Passed
movie.
Away.
I thought that was a brilliant movie.
Yeah, it was. Just the fact that he could be there so long by himself. Just talking to himself and all of that. So I might talk myself to death. I don't know. I get sick of talking to myself. But I thought that was interesting as well. And then there's been King University has canceled classes. A couple of other schools in New York have closed and canceled. A couple of people are concerned because now their graduations have been canceled. And then, so that's concerning to some people. But did you hear and see about the police shooting of a 26-year-old in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, this week?
No.
So apparently there was a young man, 26-year-old, was at a pizzeria picking up a pizza. And leaving the store, and there was a report that the Raleigh Police Department was called in. They were called in because they got a report that somebody had stolen a pizza, and that they were carrying a firearm. The police get there. The young man runs. The police officer shoots and kills him. Of course, from the police reports, they state that there was a pizza and there was a gun somewhere close near him. That's what they said. Near him was the statement, but they won't release anything further from that. The young man was identified as Javier Torres. Said that he ran upon the arrival of the responding officers, and a foot chase ensued, during which the police officers reportedly ordered Mr. Torres to stop and drop the gun. The officer involved in the chase shot Torres once. He was taken to a nearby hospital. Right now, they're unsure of his condition. That was Tuesday night. There have been conflicting reports as to whether he passed away or if he's still alive, but they're doing an investigation. Of course, they haven't released the footage from the body cam. However, on Wednesday night, they had a massive crowds of people that downtown protesting at the police station in regards to this, stating that this is not the first incident, but a month or so ago there was another incident with a young man, same situation, not same situation, but a situation in which the cops killed another young kid. So
it's rough. It's rough, but look, all of these things that are occurring are symptoms to a much bigger issue that we refuse to address. We refuse to address it. And so police officers like those will remain, on duty. They'll remain on the force. And our communities, black and brown, and I speak specifically about black, will be terrorized because of how they see us. And what they really see, Diane, is that we don't care. We'll show up and we'll rally and we'll protest, but then that's it. We don't really do anything to change the circumstance, right?
So Jody Pittman says she believes that he's deceased. Gaetano stated that the cleaning chemicals might make some of the kids sick and bother their skin, etc. Now, with that brings up another business that could be really flourishing right now, and that is the the green chemicals. Green, clean, those type of chemicals are perfect things right now. That if you have a business and they're making it, they should be really booming right now. Did you see the article about Governor Cuomo talking about that they're going to be having the inmates manufacturing hand sanitizer to fight the coronavirus? How clean are prisons?
Well, Well, so there are a couple things going on in prisons. One, because of the coronavirus, they've limited the visits, right?
Makes sense.
Two, what's going on with prisons is a lot of the courts have suspended hearings, right? And so people who are in jail are not getting their hearings, and so they're there longer than they possibly should be. And in terms of them, so here's my question about them making sanitizer. Are they getting paid for it?
Behind the gleaming bottles of hand sanitizer stood stocked neat rows, said the reporter on Monday's news conference. The governor helped himself to generous squeeze, praising the antibacterial gel floral bouquet and claiming to detect lilac and tulips. Let's see, are they getting paid? Yes, here we go. But there was a catch. The germ killing fluid made by prison inmates who typically earn less than $1 an hour have a heightened risk of contracting the virus are forbidden from possessing hand sanitizer themselves. So what Cuomo is saying is he pointed out that the gel will cost just $6 a gallon to produce. Liberal politicians and advocates for criminal justice reform quickly realized why it is so cheap and exonerated the governor by relaying on slave labor.
There you go. There you go. There we go. Say we are a commodity once again.
So, wow. Tweeted Representative Ayanna Presley, considering that many incarcerated men and women are subjected to inhuman conditions, including no hand soap and no sanitizer is banned in more prisons. This is especially demeaning, ironic, and exploitative.
Exploitative.
Thank you.
Yes, that's exactly right. Wow. That's why I asked if they were getting paid. They were getting duly compensated.
What? Ask and you shall receive. Ask me the question and I got the answer for you. So while Cuomo has said some of the government-produced hand sanitizer will be distributed to prisons, officials haven't responded to inquiries about whether incarcerated people will be allowed to use it or if it's intended for staff only. Like many correctional systems nationwide, New York considers hand sanitizer to be contraband because it's high in alcohol content. So they're going to answer. They can make it, but they can't use it.
Because they might drink it.
Yeah.
Maybe
making it. Yeah.
Diane,
so,
listen.
I don't know. The world. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it is a lot going on. And folks need to take care. Need to stay focused. There's a debate coming up this weekend, right? Need to watch that. Need to pay attention to these local elections that are going under the radar right now. Because people are so fixated on what's happening nationally, the shit show that's taking place nationally, right? That under the radar. But I've seen, it's really interesting. I've seen a lot of campaign stuff online that folks have been posting, and I'm not even gonna
leave it where it's at. But let me tell you this. Do you remember, what's her name? Wiloma? Was it Wiloma? How do you pronounce her name? From Good Times. Remember?
Diane, I was in love with her.
Was she? She was beautiful.
That was my older woman crush when I was like 10 years old or something.
Everybody in my church knows I love Good Times. So I'll tell you a quick story. When President Obama was getting inaugurated in January, we rented 2 buses. So we took down 3 bus loads of people. We made a stop in South Jersey and Atlantic City, picked up some more church folks, and rode to D.C. And on the bus, you had the CDs and stuff to put the movies and stuff in. Of course, I didn't bring enough movies and stuff, but I had the entire series of Good Times.
Oh, my gosh.
So people would fall asleep and wake up to Good Times. And they kept begging me, Diane, please take it out. Please. I love Good Times. I had a girlfriend. her mother hated that show. But anyway, back to her. She passed away. She had a heart attack in her sleep. She was a beloved actress, philanthropist, and mom. And she died February the 17th. They're just getting back her coroner's report now. So she was Willona Wood in the iconic black sitcom Good Times.
Do you remember the alderman could never get her name correct, right? Wilhelmina called her.
He was now, that was the sign of a politician. He was something. They used to do him dirty up in here.
Yeah. And Bookman. Those are my two favorite characters, Bookman and the alderman. And
the alderman. No, mine was the pimp. What was that guy's name? Oh man, that shook up JJ because JJ borrowed money from him. And he sent all his guys back to get him.
Yeah.
He went on to play on Sanford and Son and some other shows. I liked him. He was my favorite. The flashy dresser and all of that.
Yeah. And it was good stuff. So, listen, speaking of, because you were talking about bus rides, I need somebody, any of you guys who want to be helpful. I told you about what I was trying to do with this whole ADOS thing, that my goal was to create a GoFundMe page. We've been selling lots of the merchandise, and we've been kind of socking money away, but I haven't really formulated this thing because I got so many other, irons in the fire, right? So many other things that I'm doing, and I just need help, right? But I want to put a GoFundMe page together. I want to send 100, I'd say 50 young men and 50 young women, black young men and black young women, want to put them on a bus and send them to Alabama to the Slavery Museum. And I want to fund it from proceeds from these hats and shirts, but I need somebody to help me put it together. Like I in my mind, I know what I want to do from a marketing and whatever standpoint. I just need some hands. I need somebody to help get it organized. But I think that it would be a fabulous thing. I've been speaking, Diane, to fraternities and sororities, right? And some of them are on board. I think I'm going to be able to get all of them on board. So I've actually been making shirts that are representative of the colors of the different sororities and fraternities, and we're going to do a photo shoot with all of them, right? With all those different colors, and hopefully get the backing, because I think that they need to play an active role, right? In in helping re-engineer the minds of these young people.
To do more what they already do, because many fraternities have a teen division that they do mentorship to young men in the area that I know of. I know the Qs do it. I know the Kappas have theirs. I know the Sigmas have it, and even the young ladies, the Deltas, the AKs, they all have these younger groups for their girls and boys to mentor them. And it's a great thing.
Yeah. So anybody who's interested in helping with, I think it's going to ultimately be a really, really, really good thing. And like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to make money on it. This is part of my give back. I don't want to go broke doing it, right? So I need to cover costs, but I'm not trying to get rich on it. I'm trying to enrich the community with it, and I think that it's a great tool to consider using. So anybody who wants to be helpful, please hit me up on the inbox, or call the number on the show, and we can get moving on it. But I think it's a good idea.
Right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So hey Diane, where are my cookies? You got them?
No, it's not Sunday. I told you, Sunday I go to church 9:30. We have church service. Anybody want to come?
I'm out of cookies.
Franklin St. John's United Methodist Church, 142 Maple Avenue, North New Jersey, 9:30 service.
Wait a minute. What day is your service? What time is it?
Sunday we're having a 9:30 service. We're doing a combined service because it's Men's Day celebration.
Oh no, you know what? I can't come. The coronavirus. I ain't coming. All them
Well,
people in there, because then
I'll be there.
then you gotta
I'll be
turn to
there
your
on-
neighbor, you gotta shake hands, you gotta hug people. No.
Well, I always use hand sanitizer anyway. No,
No.
shade
No.
to my church folks. But
Nope.
I'll be sitting on the 4th row.
See, I would have. Seriously, I was contemplating. I was gonna talk to Amina when I got off
No,
there.
you don't need to come. You don't need
Yeah,
to
I'm
come.
not
Now, if
coming.
you want, I could video it, FaceTime, Facebook Live, so you can watch. You can do that.
Or if I
Because-
come, Diane, I'm gonna have a mask on.
That's fine. But I say don't come. I say I FaceTime, you watch, and stay in the comfort of your home, away from people and away from the cooties, because we don't want nobody to get you sick or be liable for that. That's interesting. Can I sue somebody for making me sick?
Hey, you the insurance person.
No, that's lawsuit.
Oh, lawsuit. Do we have an attorney?
No, insurance. So just so you say that, if you have a business, make sure you do a business review, insurance business review, to make sure that you have business interruption coverage. Because business interruption coverage will cover you if, for sake, you have to shut down your business and you can't work because of this epidemic. That is true. So make sure you got business interruption insurance. And if you got a relative that you looking at sideways, you might want to send me about some life insurance too, because that'd be helpful.
All right. So I think that we've covered a lot today. I think we've, I've calmed down, Diane. I drank my coffee. I drank my coffee out of this mug, and then out of this mug, I had my my green smoothie that has all kinds of goodness in it. And so I am well nourished right now, guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please hit the share button. We laugh and we joke, but the reality of our condition is a dire one, and we need to get focused. And we need to understand that we have to get in a fight. Like Malcolm said, nobody's gonna give it to us. And there is a fight. There's go back to it. Yep, reparations. I'm down to have that fight. But we gotta have that fight. We gotta have that fight in our community first. We gotta get our local elected officials on board. But I would say, if you pulled every local black elected into a room and asked them to put this hat on, right, and say that they are American descendants of slavery, they back away from it, right? They back away from it because it would be
Democrat first.
Yeah, well, like Ayanna Pressley said, she said if you're scared of being marginalized or stereotyped, see, and they would be stereotyped, and then they would be marginalized. See, oh, you're only for black people, or you're being divisive, or you're being angry because you're speaking about the condition of black people. And it doesn't mean that you can't identify that there are other issues, but to deny your own who you are, I think is
not right.
And so we need to deal with that. We need to hold them accountable at that level. So I'm saying, so we could do that work, and then we need to be about this poor people's campaign. 99%, and then 13% within that.
If we ain't the 1%, we poor.
Listen.
It's just as simple as that. If you're not in the 1%, you are poor with the rest of us.
All right, Diane, I'm gonna think about coming to church with you. Tomorrow's Friday, guys. Make sure you tune in. I don't know what we're gonna talk about. If there's something you want us to talk about, make sure you put it in the feed. We'll consider it. Oh, you know what I love, Diane?
What's that?
Last thing, and I know it always listens. Right? I don't have the Alexa. I've got the Google. Right? And I use it as an assistant in the kitchen when I'm cooking. So instead of a timer, right, when I know I have to put something in or I need to be reminded of something, I just say, hey, Google, set my timer for, or hey, Google, can you put this on my whatever, or hey, Google, and it speaks to me. Also, in the morning, if I go down and I say, hey, Google, good morning, it'll say, good morning, Eric. It'll say the temperature in Bloomfield is blah, blah, blah. And then it'll start giving me the news. it'll
Nice.
literally start giving me all the top line news, and I'm walking around cooking, making coffee, doing whatever I'm doing, and I'm
See,
getting.
what's wrong with the world? You have an interaction with AI. At some point, you gonna say, "I don't need a woman." I'm watching you, Eric.
No.
Last thing. Synagogues are closed in Bergen County. The rabbis will pray at home.
Hey, Diane, you know what? See, the thing about the Google, if it talks too much, I can unplug it. Uh-oh. I'm going to get in trouble. See, you're going to get me in trouble because she's going to see that part of the show and miss everything else. Hey, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Love you.
Share the show.
Share the show. We're out.
Have a great day.
Premium